Have you ever wanted to grow your home staging or redesign business faster or bigger? Well, as you know, there's more challenges than you think for new opportunities in growth. Let's listen in with Barbara Heil-Sonneck as she shares from her experiences.
This is the Stage Your Boss podcast from StageYourBoss.com with the founder of HSRA, Jana Uselton. The Home Staging and Redesign Association is a group of like-minded professionals dedicated to revolutionizing the real estate industry by making a difference in the lives and businesses of home stagers and redesigners everywhere. Join us as we talk to the best of the best in this industry from all over the world and hear how they are using their training and experience to make a difference in the clients they serve. If you are a real estate industry expert looking for better ways to market and sell properties, join us for this podcast series.
Welcome, everyone. We are here with Miss Barbara, and she's going to be joining us today as we talk about our upcoming event, our Home Staging Summit. And we just want to encourage you and invite you to come join us and get to meet Barbara if you have not already. But let's dive in first and let's meet Miss Barbara. So, Barbara, welcome today.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jana. Welcome, and welcome to the listeners as well.
Well, very good. Well, tell everyone about you if they have not met you yet, the area you serve. Of course, it's fun always to hear how you got involved in the home staging industry, but just catch everyone up to date.
Absolutely, happy to do that. My name is Barbara Heil-Sonneck, and everybody is recognizing that funny accent because I'm very southern. I am from South Germany, so that is where the funny accent is coming from. And after a career in corporate world, I pretty much, ending here in Atlanta for actually originally an assignment, I later on decided to venture out in real estate and started during my corporate years already to buy and rehab some homes and houses. And that's how everything started around 10 years ago. So started to renovate the houses, sell them, started to stage them, first slightly with some decorating and then a couple of more. Inventory, purchased my first set for 2 or 3 houses, spoke and got connected with other investors, and the rest is history. From there, I have, we have developed the company to one of the one of the top 3 companies in our market, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. And that is where we are today. And I'm also very excited because I believe strongly that by the end of the year, we're hitting our top revenue goals. I did a stretch goal in the beginning, and I strongly believe we're getting there. So we're very close.
Well, very good. I know, Barbara, you run an incredible team with Design to Sell. You guys do a ton of staging, a lot of luxury staging, as well as some design projects. And you have developed such an incredible business model, a lot of out-of-the-box thinking. You run a fully staffed, fully trained team that you also get to do a lot of travel and allow that team to run day-to-day operations. How's that going for you?
Well, in always, as a small business, there are always the up and downs. So, of course, there's always the ideal scenario, which lasts for a couple of weeks, sometimes for a couple of months, but then something happens, something is changing, somebody might leave, and we have to hire somebody new and find, the right replacement. And with that, I think, strongly, as you're starting to grow a company, it starts with a team. You're starting out with a team, but later on, maybe not everybody will stay on board when you're growing and when you're also trying to develop into a different direction and need to focus more on the process and the consistency and reliability, from a start to the end of every project as well.
Well, we were laughing before we got started here. You were saying, I love your dream. And I said, I love your instruments because it is like, you are a rock star within the home staging industry. And it's like everyone getting the right instruments, hoping that we're developing this orchestra of beautiful music that is providing jobs and service to our clients. And it's like, the
It is.
beautiful music. Sometimes you have to change out instruments and the participants, and we redirect and we go back from scratch. We write beautiful songs, and hopefully we can do that together. So that's a good analogy.
Yes,
Perfect.
I like it. So kind of like definitely one we hopefully can use in the future.
Yes, that's so good. Well, I know that when we talk about the summit, and you're obviously part of our board of advisors at HSRA, you've been with us, and it's been so great to see you multiple times a year because we have developed our companies that allows us to take time away from the business day to day and really become more of a passive stream of income there when we don't have to control it and just be pulling all of the strings, playing all the instruments, and so it's so nice that we get to get out of the day-to-day and get in our space, be creative, mastermind together. You're going to be joining us at Summit and many events that go on throughout the year, and you're speaking a lot to phase 2 business owners. Phase 2 business owners, meaning they have their own band, they have their own instruments that are going on within their operation, and they've decided not to be a solo stager. They've decided to grow a team. I know a couple of the topics here that you're going to be helping and sitting on the panel with are Build It and They Will Come, talking about the office department, talking about, we have to have the glue that really puts everything together, and I consider that your office department. What are going to be some key takeaways, do you feel like, from that, making sure we have the best client experience, or we create that atmosphere? What does that mean to you?
Well, at the end, I think everything, and we're touching on that, is around client experience and customer satisfaction at the end. And, we are all small business owners, and we are growing or we are failing with customer experience. And I think that is one of the hardest challenges for, in the growth part. The first step is, handing over responsibilities. And I started pretty early on to give the responsibility of my sales department to another person. Was probably already, I think, in my 5th year. So when I started, 5th year, and again, it really depends. It's all relative. But when we started, the growth ratio of the industry was not as fast as it is right now. I believe when somebody started now 1 or 2 years ago, and with the right mindset and cash flow and capital involved with it, and the processes and the business mind around that, you can be up and running in the same level as we are today, as your company and or my company, because it's a different level where the industry has brought us. But I think that one of the biggest part is really separating jobs and having this and retraining everybody. And retraining does not only involve your team and the people inside the office, but also your clients, because it is, they are used to a certain way. They start to get used to talk to you. Then you train them to get used to talk to another person. Then you divide and split that roles again, because that person did sales and operation. Then you start to hire a sales person and an operations person, and you have another, element of handoffs. And that can, of course, create some confusions on the client side as well. So lots of education again, which takes away time from what you originally were planning to do, even selling more, because now you have to spend first time to educate the team. So it's continuing education and communication. And I think that is also the biggest challenge.
It's so true. You know, I was my office is of course the door's closed, and I try to keep it closed so that my team, I'm not in their business, right? Because as the business owner, my, I guess, environment, my culture that I want to create is empowerment, and I want to empower my team. I don't want to just step in every time that I hear the office maybe say something that could be, I strategically say, okay, let's make a note, let's talk about it, further when it's the right time. But I did hear they were talking to a client that we had done business with over a year ago, and they were like, well, why are you not including this into the package? And why aren't you, I used to get this and I used to get that. So thinking about, right, that client experience, how are we going to navigate that even from a client that we necessarily haven't done business for? Maybe some models have changed, maybe some pricing has changed. And our team did a fabulous job on the phone. They said, well, let me take a moment, let me pull your file, let's see what we did for you and how we can creatively come up with some solutions that work for you. So it's perfect, right? And when you can teach your team not only how to exactly what to say, maybe through scripting, but how do you navigate those one-offs is what we call it. And I think it's so important to be able to, as you're growing your business, growing your team, and how do they become those problem solvers when it's not necessarily ABC.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
And I think there's another element I think I learned in some of our mastermind sessions, and we touched also on, the different pillars of the company. And it's good, to have that shared responsibility, and, not only in one person, but really, with with the leadership team of the company. That is definitely a good point as well.
Absolutely. And I know for you, you're probably one of our keys that is speaking through several different topics here that I have in front of me. And another one's going to be talking about our inventory and our warehouse departments. And those, we have inventory potentially, and then where are we going to store that inventory? How are we going to protect it? Whenever we think about working with wholesalers, taking the jump and the leap of faith to do that, when we're talking about organizing our storage areas and making sure that our companies are a safe environment for our teams as they are working together. So that's a big session that we're excited to have you sit on that leadership panel. What do you feel like some takeaways are going to be there?
Well, on the warehouse and the product element is really finding the best practices consistent in a consistent way, and reducing damage through the inventory, because it's such a huge also cost factor when we're talking about how we are running our business effectively. Where right now, and I think we had developed a pretty good system for the warehouse we're in now. We're just shortly before signing, either this afternoon or tomorrow, contract for a new warehouse with much larger space, over 12,000 square foot, but it also has mezzanine level. And we already started then again to come up with a new best practice plan, which I think can be a very interesting subject overall, how to really best utilize the space. And unfortunately there is not one answer fits all, because it really is also defined by the space available to us, how tall it is, the systems, and all the other elements you have to take in consideration. But, I was even considering now to get a freight elevator into the new warehouse to allow possibly only one person to maneuver and manage it, throughout the day, and get a couple of the large inventory like mattresses and sofas actually up a level, because it's, large piece, so it's easy to maneuver. It's not a lot of handoffs, and handling. So again, lots of interesting things, in the make and also in the discussion, and, also strongly believe that this is, one of the challenges because we are really all in that together to develop the best practices, depending on size, infrastructure, and also trucks available to make it work. For example, we invested into one truck and it's only food for thought. And this is pretty much our mobile storage area, because how often can it happen that you had scheduled a stage for the next day, but something is happening and you cannot get it out. If you only have one or two trucks, you might have to unload it again, and so much, efficiency lost in that situation. Versus if I can keep it on the truck and and have it, pretty much as a mobile storage. The other part is you want to be out at 10 or between 10 and 11 is normally, our ideally between 10 and 10:30 arrival at stage side. And if you have to unload a truck first, that takes away, and again, we're talking about client experience and impact and, and all of these elements. So logistic is definitely, like the devil is in the detail to get it all going to the right place. So all of the things the clients per se don't see, but are so important to have this excellence in the client experience from the beginning to the end.
Yes, absolutely. So many moving parts, so many challenges with scheduling and how that can impact our inventory and, our processes, our procedures. And then, of course, the whole element of safety when it comes to inventory and our team, right? So what are some best practices I think is so important to look at there. When we talk about our stagers and making sure that our staging installs are done right, that it still impacts positively on our branding. It allows our teams to be creative, but also make sure that that it does be something we want to put our stamp of approval on. I know that when we talk about our staging departments, our redesign departments, you're going to be sitting on that panel as well as an expert, and just coming into making sure that our stagers, as they are delivering excellence in those homes, that they're also being able to have such a great client experience that those clients continue to do business with us based on, maybe they are the face of the company to that client that we did not necessarily get to meet. So even converting, right? Converting those opportunities and one job into multiple jobs, I think is so important. That can happen with our logistics team. It can happen with our stagers, boots on the ground that are actually shaking hands with our clients on a day-to-day basis. How important is that to you, that your staging team, your design team has such a great client experience as top of mind, that is not a customer that's one and done, but it's a client for life?
It is, it is important. And I think when we're touching, and I was just thinking about the logistic team, per se, and when we're thinking about logistics, it's often, it's often more in the background or on the destaging part, but it's such a, it's supporting the design team. But they play a major element too in this client experience, from the way they're going into the house and making sure everything is in good condition. And I believe, and I think that is what we're bringing to the table in all of the subjects. The way I will prepare for it is really coming up with some, tips and tricks. So what are the top 3 to 5 suggestions? What did we learn so far? What can somebody implement, immediately, right after? So really want to come up with like a solution focused element. Sometimes it is a little bit harder to talk them through, but I'm also planning to have a couple of of this on paper, and so we can hand something out to people who are interested. We also are starting to develop and kind of like little videos on items we have seen and learning and showing this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Yes. So, in a fun element, in a fun way. So yes.
That's so good. I love it. I cannot wait. And I've, the other key topic, and it's funny that you signed up for this because we sent our topic list to our board of advisor first, because you guys are our experts. You are the advisors to our industry, and an advantage of our summit is that we say bring your team, because the people that are attracted to us are, as I mentioned, the small business owners that want to grow into a team concept as a business model. And we say, well, hey, while you're coming, bring your team, because they're going to learn at a different level. They're going to learn in a different environment. They're going to learn with their peers and their fellow logistics team members, stagers, marketing and sales team, those operate, when it comes to the tactical, it's nice that they can have their own room. They can learn, share, and grow together. And so one of the topics is talking about my boss, right? Why is my boss so stressed out all the time? Understanding business from an owner's perspective. And this is going to be such a fun session. I cannot wait. I know my team's going to be in there, and they'll tell them what they're going to say about me. Like, yeah, we can tell when Jana's walking through. They've even told me, they're like, yeah, we can tell when you're a little stressed out or something on your mind. They're so sweet. It's funny. I had one of the girls went and bought me lunch the other day because it was like 2:30 and I hadn't eaten. I had just a little shake, and they're just so sweet. Our team is so amazing to try to look out for me, but I know I'm blessed, and they have grace with me. There's the word grace. So tell me on this session what some of you feel like the aha moments are going to be with team members.
Well, I believe number one is that in that session, they also can learn about different perspectives, right? Because the way we look at it, so, as the designer, you are looking for having, the best installation you can have and trying to get the best product available to you. From a business perspective, you want to put certain elements aside because it is important to have certain product set aside for other upcoming stages. So, it's always a conflict, from you want to have collaboration and teamwork, but it is also, your project. So, which is the typical, it's a typical, environment. Then, of course, as business owners, we always want to make sure, payroll is coming. So we want to make sure everything, we have enough project lined up. So that we are, that we are all in, in the safe net plus the safety net, for that as well. And when we're busy, right, we don't want to add another one on this month, and we don't want to get another project in, but there are certain reasons why, and they are not always, as transparent to the rest of, the team, because, and which is understandable because everybody looks at it from, from a different perspective. And, same is, when you're working with inventory, new inventory, or also higher priced inventory. We, in the beginning, for efficiency, started not to shrink wrap product. Now, over time, it is kind of like it has developed in a must, specifically in our premium and luxury stages, not only the shrink wrapping, but the protection, because one of the sofas is worth, can be worth up to $2,000 and or sectionals. And we also have the goal later on, which we're doing more and more, to sell this baby. So if I have the handprint on and, little nicks and naps on the side, we're not able to sell it for that price. So again, it's talking about understanding the reason and the why. And it's harder, it's often sometimes easier if you have a fresh team and you can train everybody on the new, processes and, and how you do it, versus, retraining an existing team. It takes always a little bit time, and then we're trying to be, leaders in technology, and now, before nobody, they had their phone and that was it. Now you have to use all of the applications on the phone, and then there's the iPad, because that is what we need for inventory management. Again, constant change, and changes for the team to to grow with us, as well. That's, I think, this learning and looking at from a different perspective is, I think, is a key learning for all of the members. And also seeing that, the challenges are not only in your area, but others have similar areas, and others also have solutions for it. And involving the team to come up with their own solutions, and versus you telling, I think that is one of the biggest advantages I see in that particular area. Because when the team is coming up with the solution and they believe that that's the way to go, the implementation will go so much smoother, because everybody is on the same page.
Yes, I love it. I love that perspective is huge, because we typically, we look at things through our own eyes, and how is this going to affect me? And so as teams and as growth happens, it now becomes, how is this going to impact the business? And it seems like sometimes with the business owner, we sometimes feel like we're the only one there to protect the business from that big scale. But when we can get the collaboration of the team members to now have that second look, well, let's look at it from this angle and this perspective, and see how that's going to impact the bottom line. We know that adding another logistics person that day might be a good idea, but how's that going to impact the bottom line? So it's all of those things, the different angles, the collaboration, the perspectives, I think is huge. And now people might walk away from that session going, I think I can relate to my boss a little more, and know how to navigate a solutions attitude when I do see signs of stress. I think that's a really good thing. It's that shared responsibility that we want that team collaboration on. So I know it's going to be a great session with you guys.
I'm excited too, and I really encourage, bringing the team members is a key part, and we advertise it also as like a little, getaway. So it is learning and it is education, but it is also part of like promotion, because education is a key element, and making sure that we're always staying on top. And I think coming back, to wrapping it up, it's this thinking outside of the box. Only because we have done it that way all the time doesn't mean, and I encourage everybody to think that way. And I am, I think I'm very clear in the message that what I give a lot of freedom. I believe people should have, have flexibility in their schedule, as long as the business needs are fulfilled, which is important. I will have, for example, remote days, and people can work remotely in our operations department as long as the business needs are met. And, and there's coverage. Of course, that's not as easy, logistic can't really work remote. That is not possible. But I think that is an important part. However, I want to have people who are self-motivated and self-driven. I don't want to have to tell. I think it's coming up with solutions and making suggestions how things can be done better. It's not the job to work. It's like, if you want to work here, you will have a lot of freedom, but you have to be self-motivated in doing your work. I don't want to go after people and checking on them all the time.
You don't want to run an adult daycare? You didn't sign up for an adult daycare?
Really not. And again, it's coming, so that's, instead finding the right people, the right team, that is so important. With that, every small business, rose or falls is with the team, is with the team.
So true. It's so true. And I cannot wait to get to see you again, Miss Barbara, see your team. And I think it's going to be a great time here, not only for Summit, but just throughout the years as we have these events. They are the getaway, but they're also, they allow you to just look from a different angle on your business and dissect problems a little differently, get it collaboration with the people that you're sitting with at tables, through masterminding, through these events, having the aha moments that you can now adapt and implement into your business and have some tactical checklists around, I think is huge. So cannot wait to see you guys.
I cannot wait it, and I really want to call out to everybody, this is such an important, it's a great event. I always, and team last year, I think I brought four people out of the team, and everybody, implemented at least, 3 best practices out of the session. And this is, worth so much time, speeding up the process of getting everybody involved, being excited about it. And that is, really moving the companies ahead. So please bring your teams. Looking forward to see everybody at the summit. And there's so much learning during the sessions, but also in all of the sessions in between, to really get some answers of specific questions. And I know all of us and the HSR board, as well as our, the advisors, plus the extended team, everybody, is willing to do that. Let's make this event, greater as the last one. That's our goal.
That's right. Well, very good. Well, we will see you soon, and cannot wait to catch back up. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.